is recognized for 5 minutes.
Well, I thank Chair Waters for bringing these bills for markup today. I congratulate the sponsors, Mrs. Beatty from Ohio and my good friends from New York, my great New Yorkers, Mr. Meeks and Ms. Maloney. Thanks for your work. And this is, there's such constructive efforts towards building progress in diversity and inclusion, and we thank Mrs. Wagner for her leadership on this side of the aisle. You know, when you look at interviewing candidates and making sure that there are candidates in the pool, which has been talked about this morning, you've got to make sure that you're building that pool. And I was pleased to see the National Science Foundation announce that in the 10 years from 2006 to 2016, there was a 32% increase in African Americans seeking PhD terminal degrees across the country. And likewise, there was a 67% increase in Latino doing the same. Both those percentages are small. They're at 7% of the population for PhDs and 7% among Latinos. But that's important growth, and that's the kind of what we want to see when we think about academia in terms of potential leaders and members of boards of directors, both corporate directors as well as members of Federal Reserve boards that could become district bank presidents. And likewise in the GAO in 2019, looking at financial services employment, studying that between 2007 and 2015, a big increase there from 17% to 21% of all financial services employment are now minority in management positions. So that's a movement from 17% to 21% for management positions. That again gives us this growing pool that can be eligible for corporate board seats, district bank presidents, and for the important work that these bills address today. And total minority employment across financial services is now up to 28%, which is an important number, and 60% women in the financial services industry. So I'm encouraged by those studies that are leading us to make sure that we do have bigger pools of candidates for senior management, corporate boards, district bank presidents. Now, in regard to Mr. Meeks and Ms. Maloney's bill, as I say, both are very constructive, and I would hope from a management point of view to my colleagues that perhaps they could work together before these bills go to the floor. And from looking at the two bills, I found some only modest inconsistencies between Mr. Meeks' proposal and the proposal by Mrs. Maloney. Disclosure requirements, reporting regimes. If both bills were to become law, they would create inconsistencies and might be overly burdensome and duplicative. And in terms of the third area of advisory oversight, Ms. Maloney's bill creates a group from industry, academia, and government to study diversity issues, and Mr. Meeks empowers the SEC's minority office to advise on diversity matters. If both these bills pass favorably out of committee, I hope that my colleagues can work together before they advance to the floor and maybe work these differences out and reconcile one good compromised piece of legislation. Congress really shouldn't be using taxpayer dollars to vote on two bills that are so narrowly identical, that both have a worthy objective, that both meet a great purpose, but I think would be helpful. And I would be happy to yield to my friend from Missouri.
I thank the gentleman for yielding, and much like my comments about Ms. Beatty's bill, which I'm wildly supportive of, I am also very supportive of the work that Mr. Meeks and Ms. Maloney have done also. Again, good friends in this area. I think these are good pieces of legislation. I would echo some of the comments of my friend from Arkansas, Mr. Hill, that if there's some way when you're bringing these to the floor to merge the two, look a little bit of the duplicitousness of them, and I think you'd have even a stronger vote coming to the floor. So I greatly appreciate your work on this, and it has been a joy to be the ranking member on D&I, and I look forward to moving this legislation forward and then moving it to the floor. I yield back.
I urge a yes vote on these measures and that fine measure, Ms. Beatty, and I yield back.